Okay, I got a note here. It started out, we were very one group, it didn't, it was a together family kind of a thing. And then somewhere in the 80s, it's all about me. So that was the big change I saw. But then when I went to Claiborne, it's a Christian Science school. And I didn't think I'd get the job because I'm not Christian Science, but the maintenance department, they don't care. So they were incredibly well behaved and grateful and appreciative. And it was like night and day. So I ended on a good note.
What have you noticed? Do you have grandkids?
No, my two sons are not married, so that's good. With our daughter, had she lived a few more months, I would have inherited grandkids from him. And I'm still in contact with the two grandkids, or yeah, they call me grandpa, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And where do you live?
South Pasadena. We moved in here in '78 when I started working at Poly in Pasadena. And I was pretty active in our Tournament of Roses float.
Yeah.
My daughter Heidi was the big contributor to that.
You want to take a lunch break?
Oh, sure. Bien provecho.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, John. Hi, everyone. Hi.
Danny, how's your hip?
It's much better. I had a well, Roger. I had a hip replacement. And thank you very much.
For the fourth one.
Yes, fourth, but on the same hip, on the same right hip.
Wow.
That's what. Well, anyway, but it's good. Thank you. It's good. But I'm sorry. Oh, God damn it! Wait a minute. What the? Wait.
Okay. Oh, he has to get the phone.
I'm sorry, I forgot to put the phone away. But Roger, what's your last name, Roger?
Oh, Hunt, Hunt.
Oh, sure, I remember you. I remember Roger Hunt.
I
Yes.
apologize.
What you taught at Cal Poly?
No. I was the head of the maintenance department at Polytechnic School. It's
Oh,
a private school right across the street from Caltech.
oh, okay. I misunderstood. I thought you were in academia.
Yeah. Well, I did teach a one-day class for the 8th grade and then at the 9th grade. Just because they were the 9th grade class, they were doing Africa.
Oh,
And I had been to Malawi a few years
Oh.
before. So I brought my slides, and that was before PowerPoint presentation. I had a slideshow.
Well, first of all, hi, John. Hi,
Yeah.
Frank. Hi, Bill. And I'm glad, Bill, you're here.
Frank, hi.
Because I know well, Gay, can I just blurt things out, or did you have
Blurt away. Go
Okay,
ahead.
well, because Bill and I have different political views.
You think?
And no. and so then so I thought we were talking about academia first. I thought that I heard Cal Poly, but anyway, I had just read, and I taught sociology for 40 years. So I was in the sociology department, and I just read where DeSantis in Florida somehow got the school, well, whatever it was, the university regents or trustees, or to abolish sociology classes that had to do with race,
Gender.
slavery, etc. And so you know, I thought that was horrible, horrible interference with academic freedom. However, I read an article where, well, here, Bill, I'll just blurt it out. When I taught at Cal, you know, Berkeley, in the sociology department, I did think that it was nuts how it's not just left wing, it was, and I identify with being left wing and liberal, progressive, etc. But they, honest, in my opinion, they were so far. They had classes in not just Marx, that's totally legitimate in my opinion. Marx is studied in philosophy, economics, political science, and sociology. I'm probably leaving anyway, but they weren't just Marxists, they were Leninists. They even had a class on Lenin. So I do see how, I really do understand how conservatives could be upset and say what they're saying about, although I think they go overboard and call everyone extremist and Marxist
Woke.
or woke. Yeah. Well, anyway, I just had to. I'm
So you're
sorry.
asking Bill what he thinks about that?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Not
Bill,
neutral subject.
Well, I
Bill, what
think,
do you think about it?
that the specific case that you're talking about, I'm not familiar with, but I think a lot of the changes that have taken place and initiated by DeSantis in the school systems in Florida is probably misconstrued by the mainstream media. You know, the books have not been banned, but that is the mantra that, you know, the books have been banned. No, the books that are not age appropriate have been taken out of elementary and middle school libraries, but you can still get them. So I think you have to be very careful about things that we all read, especially in the mainstream media. You have to look for counterbalance, and that's, I'm sure you can find some in that specific circumstance.
He did. I mean, he took over a new college, a progressive college, totally changed the administration. A lot of students left, changed the curriculum. So he has made a big difference in trying to outlaw teaching about gender and race and all the inclusive kind of things. Hi, Kent.
Hello.
Hello.
I can. And
Hi,
Bill,
everybody.
I can.
Okay.
and Bill, see you're the only one, honest, that I could talk with about all this stuff. I don't know anyone else. So, you know, I live in Berkeley.
Dave,
It's like and so it's like a golden opportunity for me to hear, you know, to hear you. And so that's that's why I brought it up.
Bill, would you have preferred, may I ask, DeSantis or Trump or Nikki Haley?
Amongst the three, my preference would be for Trump.
Because
DeSantis just doesn't have the following yet. I think he's done a great job as governor. But I think his exposure to the larger public arena just, it didn't take hold. I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's a great person. Haley is more of a globalist than a conservative. She is very, very open to open borders, things like that. I think she's a well-accomplished person, and you know, did a great job, I think, under Trump. But as a president of the United States, I don't think she's ready. Trump obviously has been there, and none of us like his personal characteristics, but I totally agree with his policies for the most part.
Hmm.
And he certainly has the following of the Republican Party. And we'll see if he can encourage others. He's going to need some crossover from the independents in order to win.
What
Daniel,
do you think of Trump calling her bird brain and criticizing her dress for not being fancy enough? Is there any way for these candidates to talk about policy and not second grade insults?
No.
Well, that's Trump, and I don't think we're going to change that. And you just have to ignore it, I think, for the most part.
Daniel, excuse me, Daniel, if you want, you can always email me. I'm a card-carrying, blue-collar, middle-of-the-road, conservative kind of guy.
So who would you vote for if you don't mind saying?
Oh, geez, a pox on both their houses. I usually end up voting for the least objectionable, and that's
Who might be whom?
None of the above. I don't know. I keep hoping some other Republican other than Trump would come in. He did some good things as president, but his mannerisms, attitude does not reflect the office of the president of the United States. And I think Biden is real close to being senile. He's not there already, incapable. And I sure wouldn't want Harris to be our president.
Because
Well, she's a chameleon, from San Francisco, started out being pro-police and then anti-police and pro this and anti that, and then switching around. I don't know that she's done anything great. She might have, but I don't know what it is.
What do you think about Harris, Gabe?
I think she's bright. I think she's articulate. I think it's hard to be vice president, and she hasn't been able to really perform with some of the tasks that she's been given, like deal with Central American poverty problems so they don't immigrate to the US, or now they're put her on the reproductive rights bandwagon. So I think it's hard as a vice president to make a voice of yourself, an identity.
Yeah.
By articulate, are you able to interpret her word salad?
Oh, I think she's perfectly clear. You don't think she's articulate?
Oh, no.
No,
Oh,
I agree with Bill.
Well,
Okay.
I know that one time there was some talk she gave that she wasn't so articulate, and that, well, this is what I heard, because I have a friend who watches Fox News and all the conservative, that they kept playing that over and over, that to show how inarticulate she was.
Yeah, she does that a lot. Look, I know Trump is very controversial, and he certainly would not be my pick if there's a better pick, but let me put the description in this way. If you have if you need a brain operation and the best brain surgeon in the world has very poor bedside manner, would you take that person or the lesser qualified person who has great bedside manner? So to me, Trump is the surgeon with bad bedside manner. I want the best care I can possibly get. So,
But
Yeah.
thank you. No, Bill, thank you. That explains a lot to me.
That's a good description.
yeah.
except he's not that skilled. He's inarticulate. He's made a million gaffes. He confuses one city with another, one person with another. Thought Haley was Pelosi. So, I mean, the fact that Trump makes so many gaffes and is unable to discuss policy, I don't think he's a skilled presidential candidate. That disqualifies him for me because he doesn't address the real issues. I don't.
No, I totally agree 100% with you, Gay. but now it helps me hearing what Bill just said. It really helps me understand how Bill and Dave Kuhn and other people that I consider extremely likable, extremely intelligent, nice, etc. But their reasoning is they agree with his policies,
Yeah,
but not his personality
or his morality.
or his morality at all. And the brain surgeon analogy really helped me to understand that, how Dave and Bill will overlook all the sickening, in my opinion, sickening. I mean, look, my grandchildren know that you don't make fun of disabled people, that it's just, I mean, he does anyway.
Yeah. No, he does things that we probably didn't even do in junior high school.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's him, I mean, we've had other presidents who've been worse and many have been better. I think you just have to look at policy more than anything else when you get down to comparison.
Also,
Yeah.
it's not the president's, it's his, well, the old-fashioned word, it's his Rolodex. The people that he's in his cabinet,
Advises him.
the people who are his advisors. That's a big factor.
Yeah.
Well, let's bet. Let's just say who we think is going to win, not who we want to win.
Oh.
With show of hands, okay?
Okay.
How many people think that Trump is going to win? Bill. So that was one hand. How many think Biden's going to win? One.
I think it's going to win, but I'm not for it.
Okay. Frank, you haven't piped up yet. You went hands down. What does that mean, Frank?
Well, I met Trump in the late 80s. And I liked him then. And I think he's done a very good job as president. And being that he has that Congress is dysfunctional, it's very difficult to get anything passed. And it's a tough job, and I don't know that I could go through another 4 years of Trump.
Do you mean Biden? Wait,
No, Trump.
okay. So
Another 4 years of the
you
Trump,
liked him before.
chaotic Trump, the chaotic system of Trump, and I'm scared of him a little bit. He's
He's
very
scary.
vindictive, and if Nikki Haley had a chance, I would consider her. I think if she were nominated by the Republicans, I think she could win.
I do too. John, we haven't heard from you. Any?
No, you haven't.
Any,
Oh, look over there.
oh, how,
I am generally nervous about making political statements. Maybe that says a lot. I mean, I suppose I average out as a Democrat, but I can't say that my feelings in certain areas aren't. I mean, maybe they're politically incorrect. I don't know. But I do move in a world where political correctness. I mean, I teach in a college. I teach in an art school, and
What college do you teach?
well, it's a New York Studio School of Painting, Drawing, and Sculpture, and it does have a certificate, and it does have a Master of Fine Arts program. And
School was that again?
time, and I've taught at other schools, and and I move sort of in the art world, and that I'm just nervous, especially say something is on that this is going to be on YouTube. I don't, it's sort of, I don't know what my character can say. There was something that was really good that a long time ago that I thought was very interesting, that when Ronald Reagan was running for governor in California, and Pat Brown was the standing governor, and they asked Andy Devine what his opinion was. Now, he didn't say it in his funny voice. He said it in a kind of straight voice, but it was almost like you could hear him say, I don't think Pat's done such a bad job. I'd just like to give Ron a chance to see what he could do. So I don't know how to answer these questions within the character I do.
Well, let's step aside the character and just be the observer, analytical observer.
Yeah, John, pretend you're Andy Devine.
He is Andy Devine. He doesn't have to pretend.
I think Kent should be president.
Oh, John, I just lost respect for you.
And I certainly can't accuse anyone of senility. Because
I know,
like,
because
like how
I know.
forgot
I
Roger's-
can't either. I can't remember to do that.
I think if I ran for president, they'd dig up more dirt and trash on me that I ever didn't even know about. So
Yeah.
I don't think they would.
oh
You
yeah,
should be so lucky.
I'm going to stay
I think you're-
anonymous.
I think you're clean as a whistle. I'd vote for you. And I'm
Oh.
not a Republican, and I don't really agree with, with your political stance, but I would still vote for you because I know you. And maybe you would put me in your Rolodex.
Yeah, of course. But I think that is the problem. It's either Democrat, Republican. It's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
divided that I don't know how we'll ever get together.
Yeah, no, I agree.
The
I agree.
Democrats, if the Democrats come up with a good idea, Republicans say no, and then they'll do the same thing, and they'll just
Yeah.
That
No,
is the problem with our country.
it is at a
Yeah.
lot of different levels.
I
right.
haven't heard anyone, either political or non-political person, come up with an idea of how we can how we can improve that part of the system.
I know. I even had a fantasy, but it's totally unrealistic and only a fantasy that Biden would choose Nikki Haley or Liz Cheney or I don't know, a Republican.
SVP.
Well, to be VP, to
Wow.
have or to have some sort of coalition between Democrats and Republicans, some to bring unity because it's so polarized, it's so divided.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And it's really difficult to even have discussions like we're having where it doesn't devolve into people getting angry and name calling. I just don't know. We need some sort of unity.
Let me
I-
throw this out there that in Micah, when people were squabbling about, how to do it right and all that stuff, and he threw his arms up and just said, "Look, the Lord has shown you what's good, and what does it require of you? But to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. So be fair, be forgiving, and have a sense of humility."
Who
I
said
think
that?
it'll go a long way.
Who is that?
Oh, Micah,
Who's Mike? Oh, the Bible,
Old Testament.
Old Testament.
And then it's in the New Testament, just worded a little differently. But
Well, Jesus said that a lot.
yeah,
Forgive and be kind and love your neighbor and don't judge and.
Yep.
Yeah, that was his message.
That's a good one.
So John, do you have any pictures to show us? Any artwork?
Well, I just had my show. I have my iPhone. I don't know. Can you see anything if I do this?
Yeah,
Oh, you bet. But just
I-
don't
I
wiggle
see-
it. Don't
I see
wiggle it.
beautiful art.
I'll try. This is my studio.
Okay,
These are
okay, now
paintings
just
in
keep it
progress.
still for a minute so it won't wiggle. And tell us about what's on the easel.
Oh, that one is a landscape kind of. It's one of three that I started in 2001 after a trip to Italy, and I finished two of them. But this one always started mixing the hills in Italy with the hills behind my house. And just all kinds of things started moving into this landscape. So this is more like an imaginary landscape, and I've had a lot of trouble with it. And so I'm back to painting, now but these paint most of these paintings, like here's a painting of my father. I don't know if can you see it? The man on the armchair
Yes.
Yeah,
on the wall. I've been on that one since, probably 2007 or something in
The
different
hardest
ways.
thing
But
to do is,
it's very hard. I mean, it was exhibited in 2015 and I didn't think it worked very well. And it didn't sell, but big paintings don't sell very much for me. But it just wasn't, it's very important to me. And because I fight on that subject in my head every day of my life, and then I have a lot of, smaller paintings. Most of these have all been started, at different times. So I've been able to start picking the paintbrush up now. In fact, if you can see those red dots on that landscape painting, I just put those on before the meeting today. So, because I needed to
Diane,
bring that area out. So I feel I'm getting back to it.
it's so interesting that you spend years on the same painting, layering and changing and seeing it differently. I think that's kind of an unusual approach.
I know I spend an awful lot of time, for someone that's not a realist. Now, I know some hyper realists that spend a lot of time, very, very time on things. I just think it has to do with, I just think I have trouble making my mind up. I honestly do.
we probably have a lot of images of your father, and it makes it very difficult to capture.
Well, that's very.
Or bring them all
that's
together into one. I
psychologically-
know I do.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, psychologically, it's
Yeah, we know them
it's
too
going
well.
every day. It's going every day. And yeah,
One day we love them, another day we hate them, and
yeah. And I got along well with the old man who lived to be 89, but I'm still having problems with the man in his 50s.
yeah.
So you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I sort of think it's kind of universal in that way. I mean, it might not be one's father, it might be one's mother, it might be other things, but
Your wife.
yeah.
Frank, do you paint? I don't remember that you
No,
do.
no, I'm trying to paint, repair a mobile we have and repaint that. That'll be the extent of my painting.
Uh, Neo-Freudians say that boys have a harder task because they have to separate from the original parent, the mother, and not be like her, whereas girls can stay attached and identified with their primary parent, the mother. So, and then if the father is away at work, then it becomes difficult to figure out what the heck does it mean to be male. And, people are talking today about a boy crisis and crisis of masculinity, and men are lost and not working as much as women and blah, blah, blah. So I wondered what you all think about that as men with growing up with fathers and mothers.
I think we grew up in a difficult time as far sociological speaking, if we want to get back to sociology, Daniel. We were probably all raised by very strong fathers and mothers who didn't do work, and had the typical 50s Ozzie and Harriet kind of existence. And but with the flaws that weren't in the show. And so when we grew up, all of a sudden, we became parents and said, okay, we who do we emulate? Our parents. And yet at the same time, all of a sudden, Dr. Spock and all these other, people came around and said, well, you got to be loving, you got to be kind, and so on and so forth. And, I think I learned my best lesson when I separated from my wife and had a 10-year-old child who just turned 51 today. And I just had breakfast with her, and she reminded me of how nice my apartment was as a home, because I made it a home for her and her friends, and how when they were in college, they would throw me out. I had to go sleep with one of my girlfriends, and they took over the apartment. And that was a decision I made, because I had a friend who told me, you can divorce the wife, but don't divorce the kids.
Yeah.
That was probably the most important lesson I learned.
Yeah.
And after that, I had a really good relationship with her that still continues.
Yeah, good. I think,
Roger, why don't you comment on your father and what you observed trying to
Well-
figure out what it is to be a man?
they talk about the good old days, but these are the good old days for me. It was, my dad was a worker ant. He just got up and went to work, and that was it. He never took any time off. If I wanted to communicate with him or, have a conversation, I'd have to go to him. He never went to any sporting thing that I did or music thing where I was performing. The only time he was at our high school was when I graduated. So there was that. And my mom was one of those helicopter moms,
Oh, wow.
She said, if you want to earn $10,000 a year, you have to have a college education, so, and I didn't. So, yeah. So, but with my kids, I was there. Whatever event they were going to or doing, I was there. And since I lost my daughter, I always tell everybody that you got to tell the people you love them, because you never know where they're going to leave you. And you don't want to say, oh, I wish I'd said that, or I wish I'd said this. So, yeah, it's a very different, the way I brought up my kids from the way I was brought up.
Good for you.
Kent, do you want to say what were your parents divorced?
No. My father died when my sister and I were 4 years old. Susan was 5 and Brenda was 7. So we were raised by my mom.
And how did you figure it out what it meant to be a man? Become a bullfighter?
No. I started learning that when I started making money, when I was in the 5th grade, when I started working and getting money. I had this tremendous necessity, I guess, or obsession with being independent. So my mom, I guess she encouraged that. And I think she did, because she let me do whatever I wanted. She let me experiment. She let me do whatever I wanted. She was strict with my sisters and very, very lenient with me. And, my big deal when I was a kid, and I guess all my life, was to be self-sufficient and to be able to help my family. Now I'm not so selfish about it.
Yeah. I think the young adults that they're dating have a very hard time. Open the door for a lady, or she's going to slam you down and say, well, I can open the door myself. you're not in charge of me and you don't know what the rules are anymore.
I don't open any doors anymore.
Just open, whoever's first should open the door.
Yeah, for me, it's a dance, you know, the
That's
etiquette
courtesy.
part of it.
Well, you know, one thing I believe it's a lot more difficult to be a youth today than it was when I was young.
Yeah,
You know, it's really hard. There's more opportunities for the ones who always have their nose to the grindstone.
Mhm.
But that's not a good way to live, you know. You know,
I
work,
just
work,
don't-
work, work, work,
Yeah.
work, work, and nothing else. And but you know, those are the ones who are going to succeed economically, but they don't necessarily succeed socially or emotionally. You know, it's tough.
and
And
when
everyone is ready, willing, and able to jump in and criticize.
Anne, were you going to say something?
I just was going to say, I think technology has its good points and bad points, but I think for the youth who are dating, I think it must be so hard really to find out about people because it's all texting. And even I see people out on dates and they just have their cell phones and they're texting, and I just don't see how they get to know each other really. We're a text world and technical world, and and then you go to a party for a dance and the music is so loud. How can you possibly commute with the person? And so everybody goes to bed on the first or second date or third date. I mean, after that, forget about it. And there's no pathos or love build up or courtship or anything to get to that point. And it's just and then you think you're in love, but you're not really in love. You're in sexual fantasies or something. But
Then
I
what?
just, I see it to be all wrong today with the kids today. It's too bad. I mean, they don't really have a choice because that's the way it is. That's the way everybody is. But do you agree with me on this?
my niece is in her early 30s and is dating. She would love to get married and have kids and settle down. And her main complaint is that the men she meets online and the dating apps, they don't know how to have a conversation. So you expect, well, what do you think about this? What do you like about this? What's your experience with this? We know how to converse, and they don't. So she's just trying to think of things to get them to stay, and the grunts, but nothing reciprocal.
We do have Zoom, so you can at least see the person's face and see what's happening with their face. But I guess that's good, but I don't know. It just seems like it's just not as cozy and comfortable and fun as it used to be to date. I don't know if anybody has kids that are in that position anymore, because we all have kids that are in their 50s. But I, as an observer, because I still have a music school and I see kids all ages, and it just seems like there's a lack of connection or wanting to even connect. When you can text, why bother picking up a phone? And that goes for adults too, actually.
And who writes letters anymore?
Exactly. When's the last time you got a written letter?
Texting
So
is-
nice.
Well, Anne, I want to ask you a question, since you deal with artistic aspirants as a teacher. I mean, and so do I. And I've been finding them, kind of at their core, art students that I find don't seem that different from the way I remember art students being.
Well, you're right about I don't have art students, I have music students, and
that's
you're
true.
right.
I mean, they're not mainstream, John. They're not mainstream, are they? Would you consider them mainstream?
I would consider some of them aren't and some of them are. Some of them are there because parents want them to have a music education, and others just can't get enough music. It's always been that way. and a lot of the students are better at communicating because they have to collaborate with people and make music with other people. And some are totally nerds, so if they want to do their music and go home and sit in a room by themselves and do more music. And we have composers that are like that. A lot of composers that just want to be alone and compose. That's all they want to do. So it's just a mix. It hasn't changed much, that aspect of it.
Our daughter was a graduate of Cornish College of the Arts in Seattle. And she was she got her degree with performance production. And so it was more technical than artsy. And so I got to know some of the kids. We go up there for when she had a production going on. And like you're saying, some are great, some are, bouncing off the walls. And it's a mix.
It is.
Everything else.
It is.
Bill, Bill went away.
No,
Yeah,
Bill's there.
I don't see him.
Oh, no, I see Bill. Bill,
Bill,
I'm here.
It's right under
he's
you.
here.
Oh, okay. Bill, you have grandkids. What do you notice with them? They're pretty young, right?
Ages 7 of them, 7 through 18.
wow,
Good
7.
sample.
Yeah. The 3 of them live, 10 minutes away. The others are down in Manhattan Beach, which is a couple hours away. So we don't see them all that often, but I think we're very fortunate. These kids are communicate very well. They're very active. If I had any complaint, it would be that they probably spend too much time on screens, but in both cases, the parents at least attempt, and hopefully most of the time they're successful in limiting the number of minutes they can spend on the screen. They
That's
don't want to.
important.
They don't want to make it so difficult that they don't understand and they can't communicate or be creative to the extent that a screen offers that. And but at the same time, I think we've all read articles to show how dangerous extensive screen time can be to foster the lack of communication amongst their peers. And I think that's exactly what Anne was talking about.
Yeah.
But let me break in here for a minute. I've got to bail out. So, but anyway, I was happy to be here and talking to you folks. And
Good to see you, Roger.
I'll leave you with old man advice. It's keep gratitude in your attitude.
Yeah.
There we
I
go.
like that. Okay. Bye-bye.
Me
Bye.
too.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks, Roger. We'll see you next month.
Okay.
Yeah, so long.
How do I get out of here?
Chris,
Press
Let me out,
bottom
let
right,
me out.
bottom right red.
and how are you doing with working so much at 80? You must have a lot.
I have this huge list every day, and I only get to some of it, and it's very frustrating. So I don't know. I mean, at the end of life, I'm thinking I will have this remaining list. It just once I cross the stuff at the beginning out, more comes at the bottom,
Yeah.
and so it is a challenge. It's becoming more of a challenge, I think. I have, as my sister says, from the neck up, I'm in good shape, but from the neck down, things are starting to fall off.
Mm-hmm.
Looks good from here.
I got you.
And yeah, and so I mean, it takes me longer to do things, and I have more doctor visits than I ever used to have, things like that. I don't get to travel as much as I'd like because I have my business, but my business actually is such a great life in terms of being in the world of helping students realize their music, and that passes on. And so I feel like that's what I was here to do. And when I don't do as much teaching myself, but I relate to parents, and I have I have a staff of 5 and I have about 35 teachers. So I'm very busy and doing this stuff, and it's mostly delightful. And there's some big headaches right now because we're in a temporary building for quite a while, trying to search for the perfect new building that we were in. It was just a perfect place and everything. And so everybody's getting restless, and my business has slowed down because of it, because we're not in a very nice place like we were, and lots of competition. I just hired a marketer full-time to help me with my marketing that I used to do myself. So I'm trying to delegate more. I think that's a good word of advice. Even if you're retired, to try to delegate things that you used to do yourself or you think you want to do, and you have this. Did you guys ever go to Sequoia or Yosemite and go to their gift shop and go one of those little round they're little round pieces of wood that say
Pearls.
to it on it, TUIT, so you could hand it to somebody and tell them, when you get around to it. Oh, terrible. But anyway, there's too many round to its that I have. I'm holding too many round to its, and I'm still like a kid in the cafeteria, and I wish that I could just purge more so that I could maybe narrow it down. And I would like to find the perfect person to take over what I do. So I would just come in and counsel once in a while and teach when I wanted to, because I can afford to do it now, but I just haven't found the right person. So any of you guys, are you interested?
No.
I volunteered Kent.
Thank you.
Kent.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
And I've
Yeah.
forgotten what your instruments are that you play.
Well, I teach piano, voice, double bass, and composition and songwriting.
Wow.
That's what I teach. I'm best at playing piano, I would say, and improvising. That's what I'm best at now. I lost my voice. I was a soprano, and I did tour the world for a while doing that. But now, because of my age and the vocal mechanism just is getting thicker, instead of a soprano, I'm singing probably tenor most of the time. I can sing a great version of Fever while I play the double bass.
Do you feel like giving us a bar or two?
No, no,
That's no fair.
no.
John showed
But
us
I-
some pictures.
Da 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 da.
Ooh.
But I used to be
my
way
fault-
up there.
my upper register's shot, really shot. I can't do a lot of things. I don't,
Yeah.
I can't, Like I have Joni Mitchell, she stopped being able to at a
Oh,
certain.
that's right.
I love the
yeah.
way she could go, she jumped like a clarinet kind of, but she lost that upper.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
It's really sad when you hear music that you on the radio that you used to sing, and your mind is humming along, but then you try to sing along and it just doesn't work. It's very sad for me.
I bet.
That's
Things
life.
where your mind says one thing and your body says something else.
yeah,
I guess that's true with anything. You think you can run a mile, but you can't anymore, or whatever.
You walk a block.
Walk a block even.
As long as we're talking about
Right.
ambitions, let me just insert something here. Over the weekend, I went to a 81st birthday party for Roger Ehrlich, and people were encouraged to say something or play an instrument or do something to embarrass him. So I still had a Xerox copy of the January 1958 Emersonian, which was our
Oh,
graduating month. And under A9's reveal nicknames and ambitions, Kent, you had no nickname, and the ambition was mathematician.
That's
And-
right.
And Danny had the nickname Dan and ambition to be an advertising executive.
Really?
And Gail's nickname was Gay, and ambassador to with 4 question marks. So apparently
All
you
right.
were ambassador or something. John Lee's under nickname none and under ambition none.
What about Bill?
Oh gosh, I didn't look at that one.
Oh,
Come on.
Well, let's see if I can find it.
What year was that?
Oh, this was January 58.
Hmm.
So my nickname was Willie and my ambition was to analyze Dan Griffin. So
Who's Dan Griffin?
That
In
was,
our-
Who's Dan Griffin?
In our class.
Oh, I don't remember him.
he was in
He
our
was at
class.
Emerson. He was at Emerson.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it's fun to look back
Mhm.
and one article in here, I remember Frank Sinatra Jr. I think he was a half a grade behind us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he was able to get his father to come to a PTA fun night, they called it, where he interviewed his father as if he was a reporter for the Emersonian. So,
oh,
and then Frank Sinatra talked about his new movie, The Kings Go Forth, in which he will co-star with Natalie Wood and Tony Curtis. John Lee may remember that. I certainly don't.
I do remember the movie.
Yeah.
I do.
But I think he went to his daughter's graduation night party a year or 2 later at uni. So talk about being a parent. He was one part of the time, apparently.
Yeah. We saw Nancy Sinatra in the A9 talent show. She was part of a trio of girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might have done boots are made for walking and wear white boots.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I vaguely
yeah.
remember it.
I
Yeah.
remember when we started Emerson, I walked to Emerson for some kind of a dance or party at the 7th grade. And at the end, they wouldn't let us walk home. And Bobby Riskin and I were stuck there. We were taken to the police station. And my mother's claim to fame was that she took Fay Ray's son home.
They didn't
Frank
think it was,
Sinatra Jr. also got me into a lot of trouble in Mr. Walker's class, I think in 5th grade, where he would always talk to me, and this Frank was the one who was always blamed.
oh,
hey,
Wow.
John, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think you should do a painting of Anne with the background of San Francisco and Anne's wearing, it's sort of like, it looks like a painting already.
yeah.
Oh yeah. She looked like a Madonna.
Yeah, a Madonna
Wow. How about the Mona Lisa?
or the Mona Lisa. Yes.
I should say I can't think fast
I
enough,
can't do it.
especially with that incident that happened about throwing
Oh,
soup
that's right.
that happened just now.
Yeah.
What happened?
A protester poured soup on the Mona Lisa.
Hey,
Well,
What?
behind the
But
glass,
they-
part at the glass
With the
partition.
glass.
It had a glass. They didn't harm
But
it.
it didn't break, did it? The glass didn't break,
No,
did
it
it?
didn't harm it.
Oh,
No.
shoot.
It was just a gesture of
Stupidity.
defiance.
Terrible.
Yeah.
What does he have against Mona?
No,
No, it
it
was
was just
for
an
climate.
environmental
I think climate change.
climate change.
What does that have to do with Mona Lisa?
She came out in support of climate, doing something for the climate.
No.
And starvation and food. It was about food also. Yeah.
Hmm.
Some people have been giving advice. Anybody else want to give advice before we say sayonara?
No, but that was very good advice Roger gave, I
About
thought, about
gratitude.
attitude attitude of gratitude.
Right.
And to think of everything we have that we're grateful for.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, you know, there's a prophet, Davis Emmons, who has done studies on gratitude and finds it really makes it a significant difference if you keep a gratitude journal. Yeah, it's a good idea. Well,
That's a really good.
I'm grateful that all of you tuned in today, and it's wonderful to see what people are up to. So
It was a
with
nice
note of
meeting.
gratitude,
Yeah, I
we'll
like
see you
this
in
meeting.
February.
yes,
It was a
thank
very
you.
nice meeting.
I'm grateful, Gay, that
Happy
you
New
always,
Year.
always
Yeah.
do this. Thank you.
I love it. I wouldn't miss
Yeah.
it. Happy
Well,
year.
I'll
Greg.
be 80, I'll be 81 on February 3rd.
Oh,
Oh,
You want us to
Happy
do it on your
birthday.
birthday?
I don't care.
happy birthday.
Okay, go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
that's coming up. All right, guys.
All right,
Okay,
Gratitude, gratitude.
Bye.
bye-bye.
bye, everyone.